What is up, guys? Rick Kakis here, bringing you the latest Destiny 2 news and information. And today we've got some pretty sweet stuff to cover. But first, if we could get this video to 3,768.5 likes, that would be amazing. I'm just kidding, could you imagine? Anyways, let's get started with the video, guys. Firstly, IGN has been killing it lately. They've got to deal with Bungie, so pretty much every day they're releasing new Destiny 2 content. And today, they released 3 different videos, all of which will be linked in the description down below if you guys want to check them out. But the first video was a tour of a new PvP map that we're going to go over in just a sec. The second one was 10 minutes of combined Titan gameplay. About half was from the Striker, and then the last half was from the Sentinel, and then there was a 5-minute gameplay video with the Dawnblade Warlock. So let's cover that. Firstly, the new PvP map that you're going to be seeing definitely in the background, it's the Iron Temple. Literally, it's the Iron Temple. This was shown off just like a little bit in a much earlier video, and I didn't realize it was going to be a PvP map. I thought it was definitely going to be a mission at least, but no, the Iron Temple has been converted into a PvP map. Now, not the actual, mostly not the social space area, but rather when Iron Banner is here and that back part opens up, that's really the PvP map. And it looks like a larger map, definitely. They were commenting that there's, as you can see, like sniper towers and everything, so this is a very long-range sniper scout oriented map. Also, at the very beginning, we saw a really interesting looking scout rifle. Now, some people said new exotic. I did not. That was definitely, to me, just a scout rifle that belonged to the Foundry that we've kind of seen before. Well, today we saw a lot more examples of that really just Russian AK-47 style Foundry. We have this pulse rifle, and then we have this sniper rifle. And of course, when you compare them to that scout rifle, they all look like legendaries or even rares of the same Foundry and not exotics. But in any event, the map called Vostok looks pretty sweet. I definitely like the long-range theme. I feel like that wasn't done enough in Destiny 1. It's kind of cool to see an old Destiny 1 area returning, although some people are going to be upset for them reusing assets. I feel like if they don't do it that much, I'm okay with like a little bit of nostalgia thrown here and there. And also, they stuck pretty darn true to the layout currently, which is interesting, but they did add some new things. As you can see here, you can now go in between the big mountain in the middle. They've dug tunnels in there so you can easily get from one area of the map to the other. So they've changed the map where they need to change it to improve the flow and the combat in PvP, but of course kept enough the same that you're going to feel like you're fighting in the Iron Temple, which I think is very neat. Now, moving on from there, none of these videos really revealed anything too groundbreaking. We've all seen these subclasses in action before, and yes, there was some new weapons and stuff, but didn't look like any new exotics or anything like that. However, there was definitely some little things that happened throughout these gameplay videos that we're going to point out and that are quite interesting. Firstly, shoulder charge. Rip shoulder charge. But bless up in heaven, shoulder charge. You killed many a foe, but it looks like it has been nerfed pretty substantially in respect to every other ability in Destiny 2. In Destiny 2 PvP, abilities have really been dialed back. And as someone who got to play the PvP, it's mostly about your weapons and not about abilities this time around, which as a whole I'm definitely in favor of that change. But as you can see from the background gameplay, when the player used shoulder charge, it didn't even kill the opponent. It basically barely took down his shields. So it does about half damage. So that's really interesting, and that's definitely a negative aspect of shoulder charge. You gotta end up right in their face. So you are putting yourself right in their face to just have them half health and start shooting you at extremely close ranges. So we're gonna have to see how that translates in-game in Destiny 2, but I expect shoulder charge not to be used as much as it is right now. Moving on from there, we saw some pretty slick double lightning grenade usage. So, you thought the nightmares were over. They're back. Double lightning grenades are back in Destiny 2. Now, this was interesting because we actually got to see the Striker Titan subclass abilities in full. Like, we got to look at every perk in its subclass, and none of them gave double grenades. So this would indicate that that player was using an exotic. So the return of the Armamentarium confirmed? Well, possibly. It's literally either the Armamentarium or it's an entirely new exotic. But that is definitely a little interesting tidbit of information. Moving on from there, the Sentinel Titan. Very interestingly, the Sentinel Titan, which is of course the Void Titan subclass, gets Void Wall grenades. You can see them in use here. Those, of course, previously belonged to the Night Stalker, but now they're on the Sentinel. And speaking of the Night Stalker, well, we're going to discuss that in just a bit. But continuing with what was shown in these videos, another interesting part is with the Warlock video. Firstly, the shotgun did precision damage, as you can clearly see here. That's really interesting because right now, they don't. Shotgun precision damage has been taken away. So it looks like it may be added back in Destiny 2, which would of course increase the power potential of shotguns. And this makes sense because shotguns are now in the heavy slot. You can understandably have very powerful shotguns without them feeling abusive as they did in some times in Destiny 1. So moving on from there, we have another interesting piece of information. The Warlock can actually shoot his gun while gliding. Not just stationary in air, but this player is clearly falling to the wayside, clearly gliding down to the wayside while shooting his gun. And shooting the gun doesn't cause that player to lose his glide. He keeps gliding, keeps descending rather slowly. So I thought that was also quite cool. And this is really, really cool because this was something that was revealed back in May with the Gameplay World Premiere, but it was really subtle. Not many players noticed this, and it's still a lot of you guys watching, I guarantee, don't even know about this, but we got a really good view of it now. There's a vaulting mechanic in Destiny 2, as you can see right here with this Warlock. Jumps for the bridge, just misses the bridge by a little bit, which happens to all of us, but instead of slowly and sadly floating down and hating your life, you now vault up, akin to a Call of Duty game. So that is so cool, and that's really going to help mobility and make it less frustrating when you do miss those Warlock jumps or even those Titan jumps in these PvP maps or just anywhere in Destiny 2 for that matter. And lastly, if you look up to the top left-hand corner in these videos, you can see that right underneath your minimap, you actually have zone locations to aid in callouts. You can see when the player is moving around, it'll say, you know, dome, bridge, temple, and so on, which I think is a really sweet and really subtle quality of life improvement. It's gonna, again, help with those callouts so much. You can learn maps faster and then know to say, okay, we got guys in dome, or I died on bridge, there was 3 guys there, or whatever, and that is really going to, well, firstly, just make the game easier for everyone, but secondly, really assist with new players for sure. Alright, so that is it for the information revealed in those IGN videos. And now it's time to move on to talk about the Taken King subclasses. This has been a big spot of debate and interest and so on ever since Destiny 2 got revealed, because we really haven't seen anything too much about the Taken King subclasses. The only things we've seen so far is that there has been screenshots of every single class, Hunter, Titan, and Warlock, holding the element of these missing Taken King subclasses. Like during one of the reveals, you saw the Warlock clenching a Fist of Arc. So this means Arc subclass. This doesn't necessarily mean the Stormcaller Warlock, but it means that a third subclass is at least somewhere in development. Like, obviously for these screenshots, they were using those subclasses, otherwise you wouldn't have, you know, a Hand of Void with the Hunter if you're using the Gunslinger, you know what I mean? But we've got an interesting development on that today. Mark Noseworthy, who is the project lead for Destiny 2, responding to the question, when are you guys going to announce Night Stalker? As a Hunter main, I'm feeling underwhelmed right now and probably switching to Titan. Well, first off, you should switch to Titan even if Night Stalker is announced because Titan is the best class, but in any event, the response by Mark Noseworthy was, there are many things we are not going to announce or reveal before September 6th, which is of course the release date for Destiny 2. We want the community to have new memories of discovery together. So, what does that mean? Well, firstly, I think that the fact that he's tweeting this out is good news. I am not going to stand here and say, this confirms Taken King subclasses. That's absolutely not the case, right? It doesn't confirm anything per se. But again, the fact that he's tweeting this out is a good sign. Guys, he could easily just ignore this tweet. He gets so many tweets every day of people asking relatively the same thing. If they didn't have the Taken King subclasses when Destiny launches, why not just ignore this? Why not just pretend it didn't happen? That would be probably the best strategy if you are removing those subclasses. You don't want to come out and get people's hopes up just to dash them, although this could be what's going on here. So him saying, hey, we're not announcing literally everything, you're gonna have to discover stuff, is definitely a point forward to saying that there is a chance for these Taken King subclasses to be there at launch. Perhaps they're only unlocked when you beat the game. Like maybe you beat the game and then get another quest to go and get these other subclasses. That's a definite possibility. You could also unlock them at a later time. Like you start the game with only 2 subclasses unlocked, and then once you reach, the max level, not necessarily beat the game, but reach a later or max level, then you have access to this 3rd subclass. And it's also important to remember there is no evidence whatsoever pointing out that the actual Taken King subclasses are returning. Although this player refers to the Night Stalker, what we're really likely to get, if anything, is a Void Hunter subclass. Could be a Night Stalker, could be something we have never seen before, similar to the Sentinel Titan compared to the Defender. But in any event, this is the latest news on the subject. It doesn't look like the Taken King, the 3rd subclasses, will be announced before the actual release date according to this tweet. Now, it does look like he's hinting that, yeah, they may be in the game, but we can't say for certain. But of course, wanted to keep you guys updated. And guys, the last thing we're going to talk about today is Destiny 2 is coming out for the PC, as I'm sure you all know, and some of you watching this video may have pre-ordered or are planning to get Destiny 2 for the PC. Well, if you do, be careful, because when you're linking your Battle.net, your Blizzard account, to Bungie.net. So right now you can go to your Bungie.net account, you can see your PlayStation character and or your Xbox character and look at all of his stuff and transfer stuff and whatever. But of course with the PC coming out, you're going to want to do the same with your Battle.net, with your PC account. Well, a Reddit user did that recently and got his account deleted, because it can be a little complicated, I guess, when you go to log into your Battle.net account on Bungie.net. It started a new account for him altogether. He wasn't linking, and so then when he signed into his Battle.net account and then linked his gamer tags, the gamer tags went to this entirely new account, and again, he lost everything. So just, if you guys are planning to do that, be careful. Read everything. Make sure you're not unlinking accounts and then relinking them and stuff like that. I don't want any of you guys to lose all of your progress, which would definitely suck. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content, be sure to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.